Her name is Ellie Light. She's supposedly a concerned citizen, an ardent supporter of President Obama, and apparently a very skilled letter writer. Take a look at this letter that she wrote to the editor of the Chillicothe Gazette, and it's dated January 17th. Here's what she wrote. But today the president is being attacked as if he were a salesman who promised us that our problems would wash off in the morning. He never made such a promise. It's time for Americans to realize governing is hard work, and that a president can't just wave a magic wand and fix everything, end quote. Now, the only problem with this letter is that similar letters just like this have been popping up all over the place in newspapers all across the country. An editor, though, a smart editor from the Cleveland Plain Dealer, recently discovered that there were lots of Ellie Lights living in lots of places all across the country, apparently. 68 publications at last count. Papers in 31 states, including Washington, D.C., as well as 2 foreign publications picked up letters from Ellie Light living in different locations. So who is the real Ellie Light? Is this an odd coincidence, or is this what critics are calling a fake grassroots or AstroTurf campaign to whip up a little bit of support for the president? We will see. Joining me now is Brent Bozell. He's the founder and president of the Media Research Center. Brent, welcome. Good to have you with us today.
Good morning. How you doing, Martha?
I am just fine, thank you. So this is quite an interesting case. I mean, this very astute editor at the Cleveland Plain Dealer just Googled the name. It started popping up in different places. And as we all know, a letter to the editor has to be from the local community in order to get into the newspaper. So she's living in a heck of a lot of places.
Right. I mean, let's look at the political side first. This tactic is as old as politics itself. Anytime a congressional campaign is organized, one of the things you do is get your volunteers to write letters to the editor, to the local paper. I mean, this is politics. What this Ellie Light person, this is organized. This is part of the Obama machine. Whether it's the White House, whether it's the DNC, I don't know where it's coming from, but this isn't a concerned citizen doing this. This is part of an orchestrated campaign. So this is politics. But the onus is on the newspaper. What everyone is overlooking is the sloppiness, the recklessness of these newspapers. These newspapers are supposed to vet these letters and check them out to make sure that they're authentic and that they are local citizens. So what you've got is the Obama campaign, in one form or another, openly using newspapers around the country to promote this message, and the newspapers allowing it. That's the problem.
All right. Well, back to the newspaper's responsibility. She says, and we have another quote that we can pull up from Ellie Light, and it's interesting to me. It says it's time for Americans to realize that governing is hard work. I think we mentioned this part of it, and that the president can't just wave a magic wand and fix everything. She also said in another back and forth, and I found it interesting, Brett, that she went back and forth with this editor at this newspaper, supplying her with lots of emails and saying, she said, "Oh, are you the same Ellie Light that I used to work with at the Bergen Record in Bergen County, New Jersey?" She said, no, that's not me. Does that seem a little odd to you, if it's an orchestrated, organized thing, that this writer would engage in this back and forth, very personal sort of back and forth one-on-one with this editor?
No, I think it is organized in the sense that a concerned citizen out there doesn't have a list of 60, 70, 80, 100 newspapers that they're submitting letters to. A concerned citizen, the average Joe, just doesn't know how to do this. This is an art
form.
And
I mean, with the internet today,
it's
pretty easy to get, a whole list of I could write to 60, 80 newspapers today if I felt like it.
Yeah, but to sit down and do it, this is a full-time job. Whoever this Ellie Light person is, it's a full-time job. And they're doing a good job of it. This is the Obama machine. They're doing a good job. And there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. This is politics. But the problem is the newspapers. I love it to hear the old media castigating the new media and talking about how the internet is so reckless and irresponsible. What about the old media? What about newspapers? What is being shown here is that nobody is watching the shop in these newspapers.
And don't you think that's partly because of the breakdown that the internet has caused, though? I mean, I think in some ways newspapers' rules have gotten a little bit loosey-goosey because, you can pull up anybody's name off of the internet and say, oh, this letter comes to us or this email comes to us from so-and-so in Spokane, and not know if it really does.
Well, you know, I think you're right. If you're looking at newspapers around the country, they're now including blogs in their own newspapers. There is a melding. There's a lot of the internet coming into newspapers. It's also, of course, the breakdown in newspapers financially. They're all losing fortunes of money. They don't have the staff they once had. So there is a lot of irresponsibility and recklessness going on.
Good point. Brett Bozell, thank you very much for being with us today. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Martha.
All right, take care.
Back to our break.